And welcome to LFC Focus. Liverpool take on Manchester United this Sunday, looking to get their first win of 2017. So, before I get into the video, big hello to any of you watching from the Fields of Anfield Road site. If you're not watching from there and you haven't heard of the site, it's a great Liverpool fan site with articles, podcasts and of course my videos on there, and I'll be around to talk to all of you during the match on the live match cafe on the site. So, onto the game on Sunday, and Liverpool come into this match on a pretty poor run of form. They haven't won any of their last three, whereas Manchester United are on an excellent run. I think it's something like 9 consecutive wins now. Obviously, with it being a rivalry match and a derby match, the form book doesn't quite go out the window, but it does more come down to which team just turns up more on the day. And with the manager that Jurgen Klopp is, and also the way he was talking in his press conference today, I think Liverpool will certainly be up for this game and potentially will want the 3 points even more than Manchester United do. As for how we'll line up in this game, I think it's a little bit too early for Joel Matip. He'll probably get a run out against Plymouth instead, because while he returns to full training at the same time as Jordan Henderson, who will probably play this game and hopefully start it, his injury was quite a long layoff, and as a result it will probably take a little bit longer to ease him back in. With the half hour that Felipe Coutinho got against Southampton, I think we can also expect to see him probably from the start, whether that's for say 60 minutes or the full 90, sort of depends on how Liverpool are performing and whether we need him in the closing stages of the game. But with the starting 11, I think it's probably going to be Mignolet in goal, because with Karius playing in the game against Southampton, it looks like Liverpool are set on the idea of having a cup goalkeeper and a league goalkeeper. And while you could make the case for Karius coming back in because he did have such a good game against Southampton, the game against Manchester United is a bit too intense and there'll be a lot of media spotlight on him. So I think it would be a mistake to bring him back into this game, especially when he's going to get a run out against Plymouth in midweek anyway, we imagine. So onto the defence, I think they'll probably be the same side that played against Southampton, simply because, like I said, Matip's not going to be ready for this game. Hopefully they'll play a lot better than they did against Southampton, and I think that they will be better off because of the fact that Jordan Henderson will be back in this game and he offers a lot of protection to that back four. Lucas isn't necessarily a bad defensive midfielder, but he isn't quite at the standard as Jordan Henderson is, and he didn't quite handle that dual role of being the defensive midfielder and the number 6 playmaker as well as Henderson does. With the midfield, I think it'll probably be Henderson in the middle and then Lallana and Wijnaldum either side of him. Emre Can will probably be dropped because he didn't have a good game against Southampton, and for a while now he hasn't quite been at the level that he's shown in previous games for Liverpool. So I think Klopp will play him against Plymouth instead, so it's a less intense, less high tempo game for him to be able to slowly bring his level back up to where it's been in the past. And also with Lallana coming back into the midfield, Liverpool will benefit because they missed his energy and his pressing and his tackling a lot in the game against Southampton because they weren't able to set the tempo from midfield quite how they have been able to previously in the season. With the attack, this is quite a difficult one to call because I reckon it'll be Coutinho on the left wing. That one's fairly self-explanatory because that's been his position already this season and he is probably going to start this game. I feel like Klopp's probably going to go with Firmino in the centre, simply because with Coutinho back on the left wing, we can expect Firmino to play a lot better down the centre now, because ever since Coutinho got injured, he's been lacking the energy, the ball control, the speed of play, and also the end product that he had earlier on in the season. So I think Klopp will look to take advantage of the return of Coutinho by putting Firmino in the centre and hoping that he'll return to his early season form. On the right, this is probably the most difficult one to predict. I reckon it will be Daniel Sturridge, simply because of the two players, him and Origi, it's probably going to be one of those on the right wing. Sturridge is obviously the better player, he's a better finisher, and he's also a lot more influential when he plays from the start of games compared to when he comes on as a sub. And Klopp will probably look to bring on Origi a bit later in the game, hopefully when Man United are looking a little more leggy at the back, because Origi, when he came against Southampton, was testing their fullbacks quite a lot by playing a lot more direct and trying to get past them rather than playing the side-to-side passes that a lot of the other Liverpool players were playing against Southampton. So, while I'm not necessarily as confident as I was for the game against Manchester United earlier on in the season, I still think if Liverpool turn up for this game and play to the best of their ability, then they can definitely beat Manchester United. So, here are my 3 reasons why we'll beat them. First of all, the return of Felipe Coutinho is going to be absolutely massive for Liverpool because, as he showed when coming on for half an hour against Southampton, he changes the way the whole team play. He was a lot more direct. He was always looking for a forward pass rather than a sideways one, and he was always looking to get the ball into the box. And that rubs off on the rest of the players, because as soon as he started trying to do it, they were all making more runs and they were all trying to look for more positive passes than they were earlier on in the game. And also, as we know from previous games in previous seasons, Felipe Coutinho is one of Liverpool's best big game players. And in fact, if you rule out the Europa League final, in pretty much every game we've had where we've played against a big team and we haven't necessarily been playing brilliantly, Felipe Coutinho often pops up with a brilliant performance or even a goal to save the game for Liverpool. And my second reason is Jurgen Klopp. Like Felipe Coutinho, he's a big game manager. He showed that at Dortmund in their games in the Champions League against teams like Real Madrid, and he's shown that at Liverpool, where he's only lost one game in the league to the current members of the top six. Obviously that was against Manchester United at Anfield, but Liverpool did still perform pretty well that day, and at the end of the day they just simply got unlucky with the Rooney goal, and they really did deserve to win that match, as they've won a lot of their games against the top six. And he's got a good record against Mourinho as well, which bodes well. I think he's only lost against Mourinho once in his career, and he's got a fair few more wins and draws. Klopp seems to be the only manager who knows how to properly break down a Mourinho team. Obviously, it also comes down a little bit to quite how well Manchester United perform, but I certainly don't think they'll be defensive as they were when they came to Anfield, and that will benefit Liverpool because they'll have a lot more space in behind for players like Coutinho to pick out passes and Daniel Sturridge to make forward runs. And my final reason, I don't normally like to have two separate reasons that are both individual players, but I think we can make an exception here, because my final reason is Jordan Henderson. He's been the one constant in these three games that we haven't won, in that he's never been there. Liverpool were doing incredibly well. They'd had 4 wins in a row in the Premier League, and then as soon as Henderson got injured, they drew against Sunderland, drew against Plymouth, and lost to Southampton. So it's fairly obvious that he is one of the strongest players in this team, and without him none of these players click as well as they normally do, because he is often the one who's in the centre of the park, playing out all these passes, keeping the attacks going, and as I said, protecting what is sometimes quite a shaky back four. So that's all for today's video. Here's hoping that Liverpool can get back to winning ways against Manchester United. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, leave a like on it and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter. Bye for now.